Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
A very warm welcome to all of you, wherever you are in the world, broadcasting live from the United Kingdom. It's a great joy and an honor to be back on the show again after a bit of absence. We've had a fairly busy summer as an organization with an incredible tour through London, where we took our wonderful guests on an amazing journey into the so-called backstreets, the real sort of experiences and highlights that not the average person visiting London would experience. And today with me in the studio is my friend, my colleague, all the way in Bermuda, who is joining me on this show today. And we're going to be discussing various aspects of new programs, the changes that have been made on the journey we've been moving forward on. And it's an absolute joy to welcome my colleague and, as I said, friend Lorene Phillips into the studio.
Great to be here. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Philip.
What a lovely to see you, and I love the way you've done your hair. Actually, I haven't seen you for a while, so amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Time to switch it up a little bit.
Definitely switching it up, that's for sure. How have you been, and how are things in Bermuda?
Great, things are very well in Bermuda. It's a beautiful time of year here. We're in our summer months, so it's been, in terms of weather, it's been wonderful. In terms of work, I think some wonderful opportunities are being created as people continue to really become more comfortable in the hybrid workplace. So I think there's some wonderful opportunities ahead.
Wonderful. And Lorene, I know you've been working on some really interesting projects, not only in your, I know you wear a couple of caps, but I know obviously in your organization under Karen Wallace, you've got your coaching program and mentorship, and then the British School, what was called the British School of Etiquette Bermuda, now has transitioned into the British School of Excellence Bermuda. Do share with us what's been going on and what you've been focusing on, please.
Sure. Thank you so much for asking. I think for the British School of Excellence, it is a wonderful opportunity to merge what I do in the other parts of my business as an entrepreneur seamlessly, because what we have, both Philip and I have known, and anyone in this space know, that these skills matter. We call them soft skills, but I choose to call them power skills. And as we continue to become better at working seamlessly in a hybrid workplace, there's certain skill sets that are required. There are certain skill sets that are being heightened. That includes how we show up in each of those spaces, and the self-leadership skills that are being required for the workplace, the future of work, the professionalism, the ability to be adaptable and agile and to collaborate better and working in teams has become more heightened. And so I find that in addition to the coaching and mentoring work that I do, there is an increase in the need for how do we show up better and more professionally and polished in today's workplace.
I love that. How do we show up in today's workplace and just in life in general? And as you and I have so often talked about various aspects and the tools that we require as human beings, and they are fundamental tools. They're not tips, they're not tricks. And these are skills and tools that we need to sort of move forward in life in every bit of our lives, and in the capacity of whether you're engaging with your family, your friends, and as you just were talking about the workplace, and that showing up needs consistency. How are we showing up at home? How are we showing up with our friends? how we're showing up at work. And there are definitely tools out there, because you and I, and along with the team at the British School of Excellence, have guided so many people in giving them these quintessential tools on just how to perform on a daily basis, and tools that, when you're not having such a good day, how to elevate yourself and push yourself through. And I know that you've been working exceptionally hard in various areas, not only in the emotional intelligence arena, but again, along with some of the schools that we've had the privilege of engaging with, the organization that took on a huge task during COVID to try and help people in Bermuda get back into the workplace. I'd love to get an insight into some of the fundamentals and some of the results that have shown and come through from your point of view, the feedback you've had.
Sure. I love that question, because it really allows me to talk a little bit about the fact that the work that we do is not just for the more mature individuals. We believe that these skill sets should be learned and honed as early as possible. And Philip, I know we do the Etiquette program, and we start quite young. So the sooner that we can introduce these programs and these skill sets, the better it is in terms of developing well-adjusted and self-confident individual, both in their personal and professional lives. And with that in mind, one of the areas that I'm really focused on is equipping our next generation of leaders. And so we are really targeting schools from primary school, high schools, and also supplementing or supporting leadership programs that schools already have within their curriculum. We are coming alongside them, and we are developing those wonderful power skills. One of the schools here in Bermuda, throughout the pandemic and now after the pandemic, continues to keep us as a part of their curriculum attached to their leadership program. And we have just been absolutely thrilled in terms of the results that we're seeing, the increasing confidence and knowledge, and just overall self-awareness and self-leadership. And I think that's a wonderful place to start. A few weeks ago, I did a presentation. Philip, I did the polished professional presentations to a group of almost just over 60 university-age students who are employed as interns in Bermuda's insurance and reinsurance marketplace. This was the first time that we were invited in to provide that program, and the feedback was resounding success, and we're excited about that partnership and about the future work that we'll be doing with that organization. I'm saying all that to say that our next generation deserves this skill set and a focus on making sure that they're equipped. Many of them, as you know, Philip, are more in this virtual technology space, and a lot of these skill sets are new to them. Many individuals or young people are not exposed to these skill sets early on, and so being able to come into these spaces and support internships and onboarding programs and leadership programs where we can start young is, I believe, a way to develop these skills that the future requires. So that's what I'm most excited about, is working with the younger generation and getting them equipped and confident for today's workplace and for the future of work.
That is absolutely brilliant. And I just would love to share with you, this morning I was in London with some regular guests, as in, that word clients and customers doesn't really warrant the sort of people that walk through our doors. They're guests, and we treat them as a guest. And two gorgeous children who have been coming through the organization at least 3 years before the pandemic started, from LA. And it's just so beautiful to see them growing into really young little adolescents. The youngster, the eldest boy, his name is Gavin, and he's turning 13 soon, and his sister's just turned 10. And working with them today for 2.5 hours was just phenomenal. And they're like sponges. And we really did sort of step it up. I introduced the mindset and confidence program to them, which was phenomenal, because Gavin's actually now going to be going for interviews to his next school. And so we focused on that, and it was just so lovely to see how his sister, Sophia, really absorbed. And the amount of note-taking was astounding, without me even prompting. And it's just so great to see that parents understand the necessity behind all of this, because as parents, we've got our hands full with so many things. We do often hand our kids to the schools to educate them with parent support, and we do need to be sort of keeping an eye on that. But just to give them these amazing quintessential tools, which in retrospect actually gives them this outstanding confidence across the board. And when the mum and dad came to pick up their children, we talked about those things that you and I often talk about, Lorene, and actually talk about the organization here a lot. The 10 sort of fundamental tools and skill sets we need for life in general, whether it be for the future, and it was definitely very much, it's always been part of the past, but only now have people really started to realize the quintessential, the essence of how important our people skills are. And when the World Economic Forum did a report, they gave 10 skill sets, and they sort of listed them out, and only one of those was technology. And I just love the fact, Lorene, that you were sharing that these tools that you're imparting throughout the organization in Bermuda and beyond, is that it's giving our youngsters these leadership skills. It's giving them the ability to communicate with a very, very dynamic angle, not just using basic simplicity. It's actual proper communication, in other words, polished language skills, or language of a professional, using power words that really accentuate your form of talk and speech, and making you that much more coherent and believable. And it goes on into the leadership skills, the EQ, the creative mindset, the ability to accept change, diversity, intelligence, and what else? Creativity. So there are many, many aspects that I know we're focusing on. Are you there, Lorene?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah,
You froze on my end. No, that's lovely. I love how you share the data, because so many times when we are the work that we do, sometimes it's a challenge to articulate the outcomes. But I can assure you that they are measurable outcomes that our clients and the people that we work with achieve in terms of self-confidence, and which boosts their productivity, which also helps them to become more creative. I was looking for an email while you were talking, Philip, that I got yesterday from a branding professional that I know. I've done some work with her, and her email says, "Good morning, Lorene. My niece has recently moved here from London, and she's been having some challenges and finding her voice and being positive and not always defensive. She is 13 years old. Can your classes support her with this?" And of course, I replied, yes, this is exactly what we do. So again, back to my point around developing those skill sets earlier, if we can get involved earlier, and so wonderful that this particular aunt is self-aware enough and proactive enough to say, this is what my niece needs in order for her to become the very best version of herself, and reaching out. So we'll be having a consult later on next week to find out how exactly we can help her through the programs that we offer through the British School of Excellence. And that's just one example of just some of the results. And I was looking at the McKinsey report recently, Philip. They did a report highlighting the skill sets that are required for, based on their research for 2023, what they believe is required. And they talked a lot about interpersonal skills. They talk about self-leadership. You mentioned emotional intelligence, self-confidence. They talk a lot about critical thinking, being able to solve problems, working in teams, time management, being adaptable, having an agility to learn and to respond to change. And these are all skill sets that are required for the future of work. And the work that we do are supportive of these skill sets. So thank you so much for highlighting the World Economic Forum results, because the data is out there that supports the work that we do. And it allows us to be able to articulate not just what we do, but the outcomes that organizations can achieve when you have individuals that are more effective communicators, and that are communicating with polish and with poise, and are more confident in the spaces that they find themselves in, whether that is in person or even whether that's virtual in this rectangle that we now often find ourselves in. So yes, the data is out there to support the value of the work that we do.
Yeah, it is such powerful material and tools. And for the listeners out there, the amount of research and passion we put behind everything we do is exceptional. It really does deepen the core beliefs of what we are focused on. And it really does boil down to giving students these fundamental tools and skills. And this is not for anyone out there who's dialed in or will be watching this later. This is not about a list of do's and don'ts. This is actually far from the list of do's and don'ts. This is about building resilience, building confidence, giving our youngsters and any age group that ability to leverage off a very solid platform. And these are skill sets and tools that get imparted. The earlier they can get imparted with people, with youngsters, the more dynamic they will end up becoming. And I can well assure you that right now there are leaders around the world. You look at some of the top leaders, look at their empathy, look at their leadership skills, look at their ability to communicate, their respect for their colleagues, their whole life and their journey is just very, very well polished. That word that you used earlier, Levine, and I'm sure you could definitely highlight a few people out there that you've come across that really are advocates for what we're doing and what we're delivering.
Yeah, and one of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about is, and I know this is near and dear to both of us, is the impact of first impression. And it does matter. It does matter. And being able to give really good tools for individuals to put into their toolkit and areas that they can practice so that they can be more confident in sealing that very solid and positive first impression is critical. And, you know, being able to experience the joy of teaching our Gen Zers and our mature professionals, believe it or not, Philip, that have never been taught how to give and or receive a handshake, is I constantly get amazed at how that particular skill can be such a game changer on an individual basis in terms of just the way that they show up. I just have so much fun showing them how to do that. But I also want to add around the need to be able to be more proficient at building relationships as we're collaborating more in a virtual space, as we are working more cross-border. I mean, you and I'm in Bermuda and you're in the UK, and we're able to work together and to collaborate together. And being able to do that with ease is easier said than done. And so teaching them how to communicate at a high level is also critical, and it's a critical skill that is required. Interview skills. I wanted to touch on that briefly because that is also a very practical skill set that individuals need to hone. And I know, Philip, we've done some work in that space, and I continue to work in that space where we are really supporting our clients in being able to communicate at a high level, being able to communicate in a very polished way and make that wonderful first impression, you know, not just in the first interview, but the second interview and the third interview, and just knowing how to answer those difficult questions and how to be able to make that great connection with their potential employer, and how to deal with rejection, how to deal with failure in a very professional and an authentic way. And you know, when you don't know how to do those things, those can be career-ending moves. And so being able to show, teach, inform our clients so that they can hopefully avoid those missteps helps to set them up to succeed as people are looking at changing jobs and transitioning careers and moving into new spaces. Being able to understand how to do that confidently and proficiently is critical. You talked about resilience. What we teach, what we show, what we model helps them to develop their resilience. Because, you know, let's face it, not everything is going to go the way that we would like it to go. And the way in which we deal with those situations in the moment can leave a wonderful impression. So we want to make sure that we are addressing the total experience of our clients and making sure that they're well prepared, not just for when things are going well, but for when things are not going well also.
I absolutely could not. You've just put that together so beautifully, and it is so important. And what I find is that, you know, we come into each program and we literally share with our students. It's one of the first things we often say, well, not often, we always say is write down 4 sort of sentences that are going to be with you for the rest of your life. And that first one is, note to self, I am my brand. Because if you don't brand yourself, someone's going to brand you. And that is absolutely 150% true. The next one, we get a student of all ages. Again, I'm working with Gavin and Sophia today. This was, once we had settled into the program, these were their first 4 sentences that they were writing down. The second one is very much focused on, I would like to be the person that I would like to meet. And the third one is, one person, one opportunity can change your life for the rest of your life. Why? Because you showed up. Why? Because you put your best foot forward. Why? Because you made that effort and you made that impression. You went above and beyond. And on the other side of the coin, you are the change. And never forget that people are looking up to you as an individual. Maybe in silence. Maybe you don't even know who you're mentoring, but you are mentoring people, whether you like it or not. We are the change. And not only that, we're also very powerful influencers. As human beings, we have the privilege to influence. Influence from the point of view of showing people the correct direction, not influencing on the bad side of influence. And the fourth one is, nothing is ever achieved unless truly first imagined. And those 4 sentences broken down and really taken on board and looked at on a daily basis, just those 4 sentences would change your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. I just, you know, as I was preparing for today's call, I was thinking a lot about what's the future of the work that we're doing. And I was talking a little bit about the fact that we used to be called the British School of Etiquette. And we went through a bit of rebranding, and now we are the British School of Excellence. So, Philip, I think it would be great if you explain a little bit about why we made that shift, and at this time, why we think that's important. Because I think we've covered a lot of topic that we just wanted to make sure that people understand the shift that we too are going as an organization in terms of meeting the future needs of our clients.
Absolutely. That's a really great point. Well, firstly, as we know, etiquette, manners, and emotional intelligence, there's a very strong correlation. It's like that full circle. So the bedrock of the organization is still that platform of the importance of etiquette and manners. How do we connect with people? How do we build those relationships? Because everything, ladies and gentlemen, we are focused on is building good, solid relationships. And that's what this is all about. And when you show up every day with excellence, you can only but incorporate etiquette, manners, your emotional intelligence, your leadership skills. And back when we were the British School of Etiquette, a lot of people disconnected with the term etiquette. It either came across, oh, is it for posh people? Or what is etiquette? Or isn't that old-fashioned? And unfortunately, more so than ever before, we need etiquette and manners. It's like those traffic lights in society. It's so that we don't bang into each other. They stop us knocking into each other. And the British School of Excellence, we just realized that the word excellence, with all due respect, I don't really believe needs too much explanation. You're either excellent or you're not. There's no average in this. And we really, really dine out on the term excellence. And we're the first one to hold up our hand if someone points and says, well, you slipped up here, you slipped up there, because we can only grow and become even more excellent, if that's the correct sort of analogy. And as the British School of Excellence, it also broadens our opportunity and our offering as an organization in diversifying into tools and material that we can then deliver. So in other words, as an organization, we do a huge amount of research. And in that research, we find out what people need, desire, what people's pain points are, what's holding them back, how can we assist as an organization. And we will then go and create material and do research and make sure that we can deliver a program to give people those quintessential tools and that skill set to be able to put their best foot forward. So as an organization, we're open to partnerships. We're open to having guests, coaches join the organization and deliver off the platform. I know Lorene in Bermuda is really building and growing her team. We've just had 2 incredible members from Bermuda who came through our trainer program about it's a bit longer than that now. It's almost 2-3 months ago now. Phenomenal in every right and in their capacity. And we, as a brand, as the British School of Excellence in Bermuda, the UK, and various other parts of the world, our vision and focus is to keep building this brand on a very strong global level.
Thank you, Philip, for explaining that. And I thought it would be really helpful for the audience to understand our journey. One of the areas that I'm extremely passionate about is diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And, as you were sharing the reasoning or the rationale behind the shift from British School of Etiquette to Excellence, I can't help but just feel really proud that we have created or renamed ourselves in a way that is inclusive, so that everyone understands that they can have access to these tools, to these skill sets, that is not just reserved for a certain type or echelon of individuals, but that we can bring this to every person that desires to be excellent. And I just wanted to mention that. And in that vein, to also highlight that one of the things that we're working really hard at here in Bermuda is creating an after-school program that would be supportive of our everyday kids, just regular kids from regular homes who may not have the exposure or the individuals at home that have those skill sets that can expose them to it, that we can bring it to their level and in their world, so that they can be set up to succeed, that they will not be held back. And I'm excited to see the outcome of this program. So we're working in piloting this program starting in September. And the 2 trainers from Bermuda that were trained will be a part of this program. And we're going to be piloting it with about 3 to 4 schools. And after the pilot, we'll be able to refine it. But the idea is to run a fantastic after-school program that will be focused on the core principles of the British School of Excellence. And we're going to make it individual to our culture here in Bermuda and make it really relevant for our kids, so that they can start learning these skills early and that they can feel a sense of pride, a sense of inclusion, and know that they're being set up to succeed, and that they will not be held behind simply because of where they were born or the homes that they were born in. So I'm very excited about that particular initiative.
I love that. Absolutely brilliant. And that's something we stand very hard on as an organization. It's inclusion. It's not exclusive. And we really do need to equip the world with something that someone shared with me the other day. There are too many people who are arrogant with no substance. What we really need to be doing is creating amazing people with huge substance without arrogance. And for me, it gives me goosebumps when I mention that, because I know with your outreach program, but Patricia in Brazil, we are all drumming, hitting the same drum in different parts of the world. And we need, every single one of us out there can just do one small thing each day to help someone else, someone less fortunate than you, someone who just needs that leg up, who just needs that little bit of a nudge, a little bit of encouragement. And that will open doors for them that one will never know how big that door could be. And we've got such wonderful characters and individuals, and I talk about characters because they're just so bubbly and just a whole different light into the room. And they've really started to make some great grounds and also just open their own doors for themselves that they thought they could never ever do. And at the end of the day, what we love doing, and it's a passion and it's a dedication and a devotion, is giving people these quintessential tools. Yes, we're a business, and we all got to be in business because that's the way the world goes around, unfortunately. But there is a huge element of us that also go out there and do something for nothing. In other words, we really, really know.
Oh, yeah.
We know the skill set that we're imparting, Lorene. Hey, it's just...
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a big part of our business model is doing the pro bono work to expose these skill sets to marginalized groups or underserved communities. And that group I mentioned earlier that I presented at with a group of 60 plus university students, that was a pro bono engagement. And then I got an email yesterday asking me, can I do something similar for a nonprofit group that deals with women that are come from abusive situations and are preparing themselves for the workforce? Would I be able to support them in helping them to be able to be more confident and present themselves in a more polished way? So again, that will be pro bono. So I'm always looking for opportunities to help to level the playing field so that, again, to your point, Philip, that it's not an exclusivity kind of development, but we create a sense of inclusivity and being deliberate around that. And I believe that the work will just come. The paid work comes anyway. But when we do things like these for community and our underserved community, we are really creating a legacy and having a much wider impact.
That word impact, that's what it's all about. And we need to be impacting people for generations and generations to come under the brand of the British School of Excellence. Long after you and I have come and gone and departed this earth, Irene, we need to leave this organization in very strong and good hands. And, we're only a young company. I think we're coming up for 10 years old shortly. And I know you've been on board for just over 3 years, and it was fortunate that we met and you came on the program in 2019, and we forged such a great friendship and partnership over the years, and it's taken a lot of hard work. And for anyone out there who's engaging in today's show, just understand that everything we do is often we jump out that aircraft and we build the parachute on the way down. We try things, we really are and have been markets, so we've disturbed the market quite a lot. We definitely didn't open up an organization that is all about etiquette and manners and blah, 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 blah. Yes, it is about that, but it's not. It's far deeper than that on every level. And these are the tools, as Noreen said, that are equipping, whether you're young, whether you're a teenager, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s and beyond, are equipping you with these unbelievable tools and skills that will, again, I use that word, open doors for you wherever you go.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for saying that. And even as we've also grown as an organization, because Philip, how many partners do we have globally right now, and what countries?
That's an amazing question, and I'm really proud to share with everyone. So Brazil, Bermuda, the Bahamas, we've just launched in Nassau. We're about to be launching in Greece. We've got the most incredible partner who's joining us in the next month called Margarita. We then have an organization in Oman. We have Japan, and we've got 2 operations out of Pakistan, one in Lahore, one in Karachi. And then we have Leanne, who's our ops director, but also heads up the Polish arm of the British School of Excellence. And we're going to be relaunching Benelux very soon. And we are always looking for new partners around the world. And these are partnerships. It's not a franchise model. It's you've got your opportunity as a partner to create your own material to suit your demographic, to suit the pain points that you need to deal with. And that's something very, very powerful. There's no cookie cutter approach on what we do.
Thank you. And I really wanted to hear you say that because, when we met long before, maybe a year or so before the pandemic, when I decided that I wanted to become a trainer in this space so that I can help to advance equity and inclusion in the workplace by equipping them with these skill sets. I'm sure if I had said to you, oh, these are the countries you're going to be in, Philip, and list them off, you'd say, no way. But the work that we're doing is truly invaluable. It is making an impact. It is making an impact immediately. We don't have to wait a year or 2 years to see the results. We can see it in the smiles and the way people stand and the way they introduce themselves and the way they speak. One of the, to your point, Philip, around allowing us as partners to develop programs that suit our demographics and suits our culture and that resonates with the countries and the culture that we're a part of. I tried out a program that I'm really excited about really expanding as well. And this was a program where I worked with an individual who wanted to not just be coached, but also improve her social skills and her communication skills. And so that allowed me to tap into the partnership relationship that we have through the British School of Excellence Network. And so I was able to pull Philip in to support her. And then I was also able to pull in our contact Michelle in Ireland, who does support us in terms of communication skills and techniques. And that was a wonderful engagement, because this was an engagement where we worked really as a team to support the suite of needs that a client needed. And so I was able to create this bespoke offering that I will now be able to offer to individuals who are looking for almost like a makeover, a professional makeover that includes different skill sets. So that was a really fun one, Philip, to work alongside with you and with our other partners that support us as consultants, and to tap into their expertise to support our clients. So not just not just the group work, but when we have to do one-on-one, bespoke, tailored, customized services, we have the network and the partners and the team to be able to support that. And I don't have to sit here in Bermuda and try to find someone here. I can tap into to the resources that we have. So I think that is fantastic that we continue to grow and to expand what we can offer to our clients.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it goes without saying that the alumni platform now is roughly, I think we've got about 220 past train the trainer students in the alumni, and again, tapping into them. And funny enough, with the tour we just recently had here in the United Kingdom, we reached out to one of our past students, Emily, who is originally from New York, living here in the United Kingdom, a phenomenal student. And one of her passions, she started creating her own stationery range during lockdown, and it is just beautiful. And so I asked Emily to join us to just deliver a 30 to 45 minutes sort of journey into the importance of handwritten notes and letters and quality of stationery. And Emily did that, and it was just wonderful to see her delivery, her method, her passion, her energy. And off the back of that, Loretta in Bermuda has already started to reach out to Emily to then utilize her stationery and sell it in her gorgeous coffee shop, Cafe Channing Noel, and in the future, the Duchess. And this is exactly what you're referring to. The network we have, the platform that we offer is quite extraordinary. And almost I want to say that I don't believe we all dip into it enough and really sort of scurry around to see the most incredible talent that we have in our midst, at our fingertips. The talent pool, I'm amazed every single time we run a train the trainer. It just knocks my socks off to the quality, the caliber, the experience, the diversity that we are exposed to around the world, and it really is phenomenal.
Yes, and I think that this is untapped resource that we're going to continue to dig into. I think it's a huge treasure to have a network like that around the world, a global network like that around the world. One of the practical areas that I know that we I talked about interview skills, etc. But one of the other practical skills that we also talk about is virtual etiquette, Philip, around how do you show up in the virtual space and really getting our clients to become more self-aware and to take more leadership around how they're showing up in those spaces, and to understand that their professionalism and their impressions continues. It's a continuum from in-person to face-to-face, because for many people their first interaction with someone may be in a virtual setting, and so we want them to be able to feel comfortable in all of those spaces. And we how can we talk about excellence and etiquette, Philip, without talking about dining etiquette, right? Which always tends to come up when you think of the word etiquette as well. We still do that, and it's a big part of our offering, and it's embedded in all of our programs, as Philip said, along with all the other skill sets as well, because we want to make sure that our clients are confident, whether they're at a brunch, a lunch, a coffee, a business meeting, an interview over lunch, that they know how to present themselves, they know how to show up, and that they learn all the pitfalls, so that they can seal that wonderful impression and make those deeper connection. Do you want to talk about afternoon tea, or do you still do that? I know in our training we
Yes.
covered that, and it was a lot of fun. We do that in Bermuda as well, so that is something that is on my list of things to really start doing in Bermuda. But there are a couple of hotels here that does offer the afternoon tea. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, when I come over and see you soon in Bermuda, that's something I really would like us to put on the calendar. We get a group of people who are prepared to come and join us, because I think the afternoon tea, it's something we ran not so long ago the other day, and in the tour we ran on the tour. And afternoon tea, before the pandemic, we used to get quite a lot of bookings for the English afternoon tea experience. And it really is an amazing experience. It really is. It's something where you can show off so much about how important etiquette and manners are. And the fun side is obviously going through the journey of where it all started, the history of afternoon tea, and you take people on this journey, how it influenced tea smuggling, it influenced taxes, it influenced dress codes, it influenced different outfits for afternoon tea, it influenced the hotels, the restaurants, and there's a huge amount of history, and tea has had a big influence on history. And it's not just sipping a cup of tea with someone having a couple of scones and sandwiches. It's a lot more to it. And through that, you can gain so much knowledge and gain confidence. But not only that, it also teaches us something which I think has been forgotten in this world, and that is mindfulness and presence intelligence, and really focusing on the moment. And this is exactly what you were sharing, Lorene, that confidence is when you know how to do something, like, for example, eat with chopsticks, or eat with a knife and fork, or eat with a spoon, or whatever you might be eating to transport the food to your mouth. When you're doing that with confidence, you are totally in the moment. You don't need to panic or worry about how you're getting on in that arena, because that's already taken care of. So you can be so much more present. You can be so much more engaging and engaged with your audience and with the people that you are having a meal with, or networking with, or having afternoon tea with. And it really does add a huge amount of value. So there's a lot of fun. We bring a huge amount of fun and energy to everything we do. It's not by any stretch of the imagination dry and boring and robot-like. It's far from. On the other side of the coin, it's actually it's vibrant, it's fun, and lots of laughter and joking and playing around. I mean, I know, Lorene, you mentioned the handshake, and shaking someone's hand and giving them the wet fish handshake, and showing them the difference, and having a giggle about those sort of things. So it really does. We definitely bring an immense amount of fun and energy to everything we do.
Yeah, we do. I'm glad you said that, because sometimes when you think of etiquette and just being so, and it sounds very dry and stilted, and I don't know about you, but I've decided that this season of my life I want to have as much fun as possible. So I'm always looking for ways to make the work that we do fun. And I will say that when you're teaching them how to give a handshake, whether that be kids or teenagers, young careerists, or senior or more mature individual, it is always a really, really fun exercise. And then just to see their face light up when they give that really great handshake, and they recognize that they just delivered a great handshake, is wonderful. So the work we do is a lot of fun. We incorporate a lot of activities so that it is truly practical and applicable, and it's not just a bunch of theory. We're really bringing it into the everyday workings of people's lives, so that they get an opportunity to experience it and to practice it before they actually try to do that in the real world. And so these skills are they're not just nice to have, they are need to have. And I said it at the outset, the earlier we can introduce these skill sets, the more confident individuals we're going to be able to have in our workplace, the more confident teenagers you're going to have, the more confident employees you're going to have, the more confident leaders you're going to have within your organization. So it's not a nice to have, it's definitely a need to have.
I love that. And on that note, it's a need to have 150%. It's a perfect way to finish off today's show. And I just would love to ask you, Lorene, we've got radio listeners out there. So just share your contact details, please. Anyone who wants to reach out to Lorene in Bermuda, please do so. Lorene, over to you.
Sure. Bermuda is home, but I can be contacted. I am on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So please send me an invite. I'd love to connect. Otherwise, I can be reached at lorene@clarendonwallace.com. And, that's it. Those are the primary contacts, and you'll get me directly. And I would love to see how we can work together, how we can support you. And if it is not a good fit for me, I have a wonderful team and group of alums that I can reach out to that can service you as well. So I look forward to connecting with you. And thanks for listening in.
Lorene, always a joy, always a pleasure. I know we're catching up early next week as individuals. Yes. A huge, what do you say in Bermuda all the time? Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Yes.
I'm wishing you the most wonderful weekend. I'm sure you've got beautiful weather.
Yes, it is beautiful now. Yes, it is. It is. Yes. The summer is wonderful.
I'm sure your kids have told you, but we're having a very nice summer here in the UK. So it's
I heard that. Wonderful. Kudos.
But it really is such a joy to see you. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you to Dr. Jacqueline for putting the show together. And we'll see you next week, Lorene. Have a great weekend. And all the listeners out there, thank you for taking the time to connect and engage with us. Please do reach out to the British School of Excellence at your leisure. We would love a conversation with you. hello@thebritishschoolofexcellence.com and WhatsApp +44 780 885 9914. Thank you all very much wherever you are in the world. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. And we will see you again very, very soon.